Hiya knitters! In this week's video I am showing you how to make these hen egg cozies by Claudia Lohman. This is a free and simple pattern, perfect for decorating any little Easter eggs you might be handing out soon, but then they can continue all year round as little egg cozies. So stick around and I will show you how to make these. I will link the original pattern below as she has other variations of this, including a duck pattern. So to make this is this lovely autumnal 4-ply yarn. This is perfectly Halloweeny, but I think this will be marvellous for a little chicken. I will be using my HiyaHiya sharp interchangeable needles. These are 3mm needles on a 32-inch cable. I've mentioned in previous videos, for patterns like this you can use straights, you could use DPNs, but for the sake of filming and stress on my arms, I find circulars easier, because if I was using straight needles to knit this, I would either be hitting my table more, I'd be hitting the camera. So these are perfect for these sorts of projects. I will also be needing a pair of scissors, which I'm sure you've seen plenty of time in our videos now, our range of rainbow embroidery scissors. These ones are the Art Deco leaf style, but we also do them in butterfly, guitar and unicorn. And I will also be needing some darning needles, well, a darning needle, but this is my selection of Darnit darning needles that HiyaHiyaEurope has to offer. They come in two choices of colours, but this is the blue, orange, purple mix. And then the last thing you'll be needing is stuff to decorate your chicken with. So I'm going with my good old pack of safety eyes, because I'll be using the smaller ones. And then you'll need cardboard or paper, felt, your choice of material to create its beak. So to start, we'll be casting on 32 stitches, and I will be using the long tail cast on method to do this. If you are unsure how to do this, I'll just show you a couple of times to start off with, but I have made a full video on how to do this, which I'll link up top for you. So you want to start with a tail of yarn. I always go a bit excessive when I'm doing long tail cast on, just in case. So you want to create a slip knot, and I do this by wrapping the yarn around my finger. So I get a loop like this, and then I pull through the tail to do that. And you want to have the yarn connected to your ball or skein in your right hand, and the yarn of the tail in your left hand. And I am going to wrap the yarn in my left hand around my thumb like so. Put the needle up there, so I've got a loop on my needle. Keep hold of it. Take the yarn in my right hand and put it over the top of the needle. And then using my thumb, pull the loop I put over my thumb a second ago over the top. And that is a stitch. So one more time, just to show you, but as I said, there is a full video you can go and watch if you're unsure about this. Create a loop with your thumb. Put the needle up your thumb. Wrap the yarn from your right hand over the top of the needle, in between your thumb and the needle really. And then take the yarn from your thumb over the top and pull tight on both bits. And this is my preferred method of cast on. It's just straight, it's stretchier, it's neater, and as you can see, it is one that is, it's just muscle memory for me now. Do this without looking really. But have a play about, see what you prefer. But hopefully if you didn't know how to do this, that has just helped. So we're casting on 32 stitches, which I will just cut to them all being cast on for you, so you don't have to watch this all the way through. So I have got 32 stitches. Now, if you did do excessive long tail, like I always do, To prevent yourself from confusing your tail from your working yarn, just cut that tail off. So, row 2 is starting your ribbing. So ribbing is when you knit one, purl one, and it creates that stretchy band effect, which is going to be the bottom of the chicken. And we are going to do this until the ribbing measures 1 inch, which they estimate is 6 to 7 rows. So I'll just show you the first few stitches, and then once again I will cut to when it's done so you don't have to watch through all of that. So knit one like so. And then purl one. And I'll get my cable so it is out of the way. That would help. And then knit one. You want to just keep doing this, like I said, for 1 inch, which is about 6 or 7 rows. So I will carry on doing this for the next 5 minutes, and I will be back with you in a second. Okay, so once you've completed the ribbing for about 6 or 7 rows, you then want to do garter stitch for about 1.5 inches, and this will be the main shape of the chicken. So garter stitch is knitting every stitch back and forth. So really straightforward, easy to do. Once again, just show you a few, and then I will cut to when I've completed this to save you having to watch this over and over. So just knitting is into the back of the stitch, yarn over and through. I do have a few tutorials on this, which I will link up in the top corner for you if you are looking at learning just the basics of knitting. So garter stitch is when you knit every single stitch, both on the right side and the wrong side of your work. Whereas stockinette stitch or stocking stitch is when you knit on one side and purl all the stitches on the other. Typically the knit side is the right side and the purl side is the wrong side. But garter is one of the simplest ways you can make up a piece of work. So there you go, that's one row. You don't see much at this stage, but you can see that's typically what the wrong side looks like, and typically the right side when you're doing stocking stitch, but all of this is going to look like this shortly. So I will be back in a second for you, in about 10 minutes for me. Right, so I have created the rib at the bottom, and this is the stretchy bit that will help secure your egg. I've done the garter stitch here, and I love how this yarn grades. Hopefully the light is good enough in here today for you to see that slight colour change that is happening. So the next stage is to shape the first half of the tail. And this is almost short rows. We're not going to be knitting the full row, we're going to be adding some layers in places. So first of all, we're going to knit 5 stitches. So we've knitted 5, and we're now going to flip our work around and work these 5 stitches again. And try not to wrap my yarn in a really awkward way. So, knit these 5. 1, 2, 5. Then we're going to turn it again, and at this point use the freedom to untangle my yarn. There we go, we're good. And then we're going to knit 4, turn and knit 4 again. So tangle your yarn again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to bind off the first 10 stitches and continue our knitting until the end of this row. So just doing a basic bind off where I knit 1, knit my second stitch, try and knit my second stitch, and then pull the first stitch over the second, and that's 1 cast off. So make another stitch, my second cast off. And this might have a bit of a gap to it here because that was the short rows. But we're going to make something similar on the opposite side of this piece, and when we sew it all up together later, it will form the little tail with a little plume at the back of your chicken. Okay, so you should be left with 22 stitches here, and we are going to knit all of these stitches until the end of the row, which I will do now and be back with you in a second. So that's that done. You can see the start of this tail, and we're going to create something similar here. So to shape the second half of the tail, which is over here, it's a repeat of the previous pattern. So we're going to knit 5, try not to get tangled as we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then rotate and knit those 5 stitches again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flip it back, and then we're going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and flip it back and knit those 4 stitches again. Have something that looks like that. And then just like before, we're going to bind off the first 10 stitches, which should leave us with 12 stitches remaining on our cable. Okay, so I've got 12, I'll bring that to the front for you. Got 12 stitches left across here and on this one. And then the last bit is going to be shaping the head. So to shape the head, rows 1 through 6 is just to knit the whole row, which I will now do and get back to you in a second. So after you've done those 6 rows, you'll have something that looks like this. And for the next row is knit 10, so knit the first 10 stitches and then knit the last 2 together, reducing your stitch count down to 11. And knit these last 2 together. Like so. And the next row is to knit 9 and then knit the last 2 together. So in a similar fashion to the previous row. Now I've got 10 stitches on here. Is to knit every stitch, which I will quickly speed up for you. Right? It's almost looking like a robin at the moment. And the next row is to knit 8 stitches and knit the last 2 together, so decreasing again. And the next row is knit 7, knit 2 together. And then bind this off, but leaving about 18 inches of tail of yarn, because we'll be using that to sew this all together in a sec. So I'll just bind that off. Classic bind off, like I've been doing so far. So this is when I always do too much. A little bit extra, do a couple of it. And using my rainbow scissors, go chop that. And I'm going to grab my darning needle, pull that out a little bit, and close that tight. It does look like a little bit of a flattened robin at the moment, and that makes me a bit sad, but we are going to make it into a funky chicken in a second. So to sew this up, we are going to have to fold this in 2. Even though the pattern's the same on both sides, if you've got a side that is a bit cleaner than the other, you want to fold that on the inside, because we will eventually turn this inside out, and that'll be your pretty outside of your chicken. So just going to pin these together like this. So we're going to start by joining the head together. Doesn't have to be pretty, as ever I'm just doing simple stitch because I will be turning it inside out. And just make sure you're matching those sides together nicely, matching your stitches up nicely with each other so you don't have a wonky chicken. If you want a wonky chicken, by all means you can make it so. And you want to fasten it off once you get to the end. Leave that in. Cut that. Now I hope you're starting to see what this is going to look like. So at this point I'm going to grab some safety eyes. I'm going for I have got another one I've made before that I will show you in a sec. But I went for little eyes. Right, just going to turn that chicken inside out, or right side out, and then place one eye up here. Because it's in an awkward place, it is a bit awkward to do this. You can sew the eyes on, you can glue some beads on, you can paint them if you want, like however you choose to decorate your chickens. Wait. So that's one side done. Then I just need to get his other eye in line on the other side. I think that's quite cute. So the last thing left is the finishing touches. Now, you can make a little plume to go along the top crocheting in, which I'm not going to cover here, but you can see it in the pattern if you wish to do that. And it will turn out something like this, one I made earlier. You get like these little tufts at the top if you want it to be more of a rooster looking thing. With this one I'm just going to keep as a simple chicken. So to finish off this one, I have got a teeny bit of cardboard with a beak, and I'm going to be using some double-sided tape. This is just a short-term solution to this for this video, but for a longer-term solution I'd suggest super glue or something to that effect, sewing it on, but that'll do for now. Hey! So yeah, a little chicken, hen, rooster egg cozy. So here is the finished chicken with egg included. Only the one, I didn't get one for this fella. These are a perfect little gift, ideal for this time of year with Easter if you're giving out Easter eggs, like cream eggs and mini ones. but they also fit nicely on top of egg cups if you want to keep your boiled egg nice and warm in the morning. So please let me know if you gave this pattern a try. As ever, please like and subscribe for more updates from the world of HiyaHiya Europe. I will pop a link to a list of our wonderful stockists below from whom you can purchase the tools I've used to make this. And if you are interested in becoming an official HiyaHiya Europe stockist, there will also be a link to registration below too. So until next time, happy knitting!